Hello and welcome to episode 4 From Deep with Luke Jansen and my host Philip Wiseman. Phil, say hello.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello. We got a great show for you guys today. We got From Deep. We're switching up this segment just a little bit. We're going to have 2 questions at the start and 2 questions at the end. I know, mind blown. The whole show's canceled. It's different. You don't like it? Well, get used to it. We got NBA Weekly. We got Social Hoops. We got NBA 2K, which you're going to learn about when we get to that segment. It's pretty awesome stuff. Luka Doncic versus Zion Williamson. So it's just a little tip there for you. We got Hot Take and We the North. And past that, let's just jump right into it.
How you doing? Me and Bonsai Bob ready to bring the energy. You like that?
Yeah, Phil. And I got my plant Steven. And as you can see, you can't see the other one up there, but Steven 2.
Oh, Steven 2.
Steven 1,
His
Steven
offspring?
2. What's that? Yeah. I know.
Offspring.
Completely different plants. My wife would be so mad at me if I said they were the same. She's the plant whisperer in our house. I just think they look cool. Yeah, man. So we got some cool stuff to talk about this week. But first, we gotta get to some I think the silly questions from deep first, right?
I think we can always start a little silly. You ready for mine?
Yeah, let me switch this over to the segment. You got to hear that swish before we jump into it, you know? It's just so important. Swish from deep. All right, Phil, begin.
All right.
Oh boy.
So mine is a would you rather. In a celebrity game of a one-on-one celebrity game, I should say.
Okay.
Who you got winning in a game to 11? Drizzy Drake or the Canadian icon, Justin Bieber?
That's a good question. Biebs was actually playing ball today. I saw him posted on his Instagram. I don't know where he's playing ball, but he's playing with someone. Drizzy Drake or Justin Biebs? Do we know the height of them?
I do know the height. I got the height and weight for you.
Okay.
So Drake is sitting at a towering 6'1", 196 pounds.
Yep.
Justin Bieber, a little less, 5'8", 154 pounds. So Drake's got 3 inches on the guy, 42 pounds, according to my Google before this answer or my question. So yeah, who you got, Drake or Justin Bieber?
So I think really comes down to, for that question, who's got the better basketball skills? Because Biebs is ripped. I don't know if you ever knew that, but that guy's like in good shape. Drizzy, he ain't got no 6-pack as far as I'm aware, unless something has majorly changed in the last time since I've seen him.
He's a bulky man though. I can see the old man game coming in with Drizzy Drake, a little posterizing the little Biebs down low, maybe a little jump hook, a little fade.
All right, yeah. Okay, final answer. We're going to go Drake just because of swag.
Just because of swag. Okay.
Sorry, Biebs. You're my favorite musician. Don't take the hurt if you hear this. I love you.
So Drake over Biebs. What's going to be the score?
Athleticism from Biebs. Drake got his, like you said, post-up game with a little bit of weight, a little bit of swagger, confidence. We're gonna go Drake wins 11-8.
11-8. Okay. Buzzer beater, little hook over the right shoulder.
No, Drake pulls up for the 3. He's like,
he pulls it for the 3. Okay.
Pulls up for the 3.
Well, Drake has his own court at his place in Toronto. So, I mean, both these guys love basketball. They're both Canadian icons when it comes to the music game. I'd love to see a one-on-one game. I'd put some charity money in that. Let's do it. That's what I'd like to see.
I love the question because mine follows right up with it, Phil.
Ooh,
these 1v1s, would you rather? No, although the King Kong Godzilla, I forgot to put out the social media, so we didn't actually get anything back on that. So, but that's okay, because we know that
Godzilla would win.
King Kong would win. So,
King Kong. Oh, okay.
I mean, you can speak your lies, but whatever. That's okay. All right. So, Phil, don't you be looking at the screen?
Okay.
All right. So this is again a 1v1. Now this is street rules though. So street rules are involved. So elbows are permitted. Call your own fouls, and you don't call your own foul on the street ball. My brother taught me that. Unless you're bleeding, no foul. Unless you're waking up in the hospital.
All right.
No foul. All right. So the nickname Big Ben at 6'9" versus a Big Bird at 8'2".
The Big Bird from Sesame Street.
The Big Bird from Sesame Street.
The big yellow bird from Sesame Street.
So for those that don't know, Big Ben, Ben Wallace, my favorite player, Big Fro. defensive player of the year.
So not the big tower in London. We're not talking about that big.
We're not talking about it. Yeah, although that would play very, very great defense. It'd be some of the best defense you'd see. Offense would be difficult. But yeah, so Big Ben, great basketball player, but 6'9", and then you have Big Bird, who's just a dominant force at 8'2". I couldn't find his weight, but I would imagine it's not a small amount. It's a big bird. It's what's in his name. He's Big Bird. Who you got? And yeah, I like yours too. Like, what's the final score? What's going to happen in this game?
We're playing street rules. Well, Big Bird is a bird. Street rules, so there's not going to be any traveling calls. The man can literally fly into the sky and dunk the basketball. He's 8'2". He's got a full foot and a half on Ben. Ben is defensive player of the year, but I think we got to go Big Bird because Big Bird can travel. He can fly. He's gonna win. I'm gonna go 11-7. I'm gonna go 11-7.
Oh, you're giving one less. Beebs is gonna drop 8, but Big Ben's only dropping 7.
Beebs versus Drake is a different story than Big Bird versus Big Ben, and I'm gonna go with the Big Bird at 11-7.
Okay, so in a 2v2 of Big Ben and Big Bird versus Drake and the Beebs, who's winning it?
11-0 Big Ben and Big Bird.
The defense is just astonishing. Just swats coming out everywhere.
Yeah, and feathers flying all over the place.
Oh, of course.
Some tussling and bustling going on from them boxing out down low.
I like it.
I don't think Bieber or Drake grabs a rebound, so it's going to be 11-0.
It's 11-0. The winner takes ball, of course. So that's game. That's game over. Awesome. All right, man. Well, that's some interesting questions. Love to have everybody's answers to these ones. So who you got, Biebs or Drake, or for our other one, Big Ben versus Big Bird? It's too bad we couldn't simulate that one. I'm gonna have to get really good.
I mean, we're gonna have to try to get creative on 2K if we're gonna do that.
I'll have to just get good at animations. I'll just make it myself.
Third career. Let's see. What
yeah. Oh, for sure. I remember at John Dorn we had to make animations. Do you remember my sticky animation? Did I ever show you that? The guy like just flying all around the court and like doing crazy dunks. Did you ever have that?
It rings a bell, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't remember everything.
That's quite all right. I remember it quite awesome. And it was like the guy was like going in and out of the hoop and like 360s. Just it's a good time.
I think that's what Big Bird would do to Big Ben. So that makes sense.
For sure. He'd be flying all over, just dunking everywhere. All right.
Is that what you got too? You got Big Bird over Big Ben, or who you got?
Oh, no, Big Ben. He's my favorite player. I gotta rep.
Okay.
Gotta rep.
Fair.
He's street rules. I think Big Ben just straight up knuckle punches Big Bird in the face. Big Bird goes down.
I mean, he's got to jump a whole foot to get there.
That's true, but he's Big
Ben.
But
he's got his wingspan, I guess.
If he can take on Shaq.
See his wingspan. Big Bird's wingspan is going to come into play.
That's true, but if Big Ben can take on Shaq, he'd take on Big Bird. So
a little bird wingspan pun for those people out there. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah. All right. I like it, Phil. You got jokes, and those are good. It's good to have jokes. Now let's get serious.
Let's
jump into some weekly NBA here. We got a big dunk. There's some cool stuff that happened this week. Last week we were talking about Steph Curry. Again, we're talking about Steph Curry. I think this guy is breaking records pretty much every week.
Left, right, and center.
Now he's starting to get into the later part of his career. We're starting to see records just shattered because, Steph's been amazing for quite a long time now. So what we had this week was, so you see on the screen, if you don't, Steph passes Wilt Chamberlain on all-time Warrior scoring. This is pretty awesome. In our picture here, we have kind of Wilt handing on the torch to Steph. Wilt obviously did great things for Golden State, but now Steph's turn to reign. And Dirk Nowitzki, I found a little quote on him is actually pretty cool. So he's like, I've told these stories when I was watching him in those playoff runs, and the building was rocking. He'd come across half court, and I'm yelling at the TV, shoot the ball. Like, what are you waiting on? I'm fired up. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Obviously, coming from a Hall of Famer, pretty cool to hear. Respect all over. Anywhere you ask, Steph Curry's got a ton of respect for himself. Great player. What do you have to say about that, Phil? About the record?
Makes a lot of sense. Man shoots 43.4% from three. He's got 2,734 threes, second all time. 90% from the line. He's hit 9 straight games with 32 or more. And I think with how the Warriors have been playing, it's been the Stephen Curry show. And he has been performing night in, night out. Can't say the same for the team. but Steph has been consistent and persistent. And if there's one thing in sales, that is the key, as well as in basketball, consistency and persistence.
Ooh, all right. Lesson learned.
There's a catchphrase for you.
I like it. Consistency and imperfection. Was that what it was?
Persistence and consistency.
Oh, persistence and consistency. I was so close. So close.
Okay.
We'll get it next time. That's why it's my first time. You're teaching me, right? Next time I'll have it. Another really cool thing that we're talking about this week is the Suns clinch winning record for first time since what year, Phil? What do you think?
2014. That Suns team, I think, just missed the playoffs. They had an amazing run, and then lo and behold, they don't make the playoffs. But these Suns are looking promising. Second in the West. Monty Williams is doing a fantastic job. This is something I didn't know, but he's only coached Chris Paul for one season when he was in New Orleans. I thought they were there together for a long time, but he always wanted to come back and coach Chris Paul. They're playing at the slowest pace. 7 guys are averaging 10 points a game. Cameron Payne's coming off the bench. He's hustling. He's doing a great job. Top 6 in offensive rating, top 5 in defense. I think these guys have got to be really right at the top here, Luke. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Suns are looking really awesome. 2 games back from the first place in the West, so definitely a manageable chance to actually jump into there. Donovan Mitchell actually just got he's injured. Nothing, it wasn't anything structural, but they said 3 to 4 games out. That's a big piece that's missing. So potentially you have Suns knocking that down. Cool thing about the Suns too is I was looking at their cap space, and it's just unbelievable what they're doing with the starting 5. Like, you look at that starting 5, and you're not like, oh, that's like a potentially first team in the West. Like, when you read those names, there's no names, and you're like, oh yeah, like obviously Chris Paul and Devin Booker, but like, this is just a team that is playing basketball and doing it extremely well. You got 7 guys averaging 10 points. Like, these guys are just playing hoops. But anyways, give you the cap space. Chris Paul, 41 mil. Obviously, he's up in the high. He's up in the higher end, but he everywhere he goes, he makes his team have a winning percentage. So I think you pay the man his money. He brings your team a win, and he's second in the East. With OKC last year, man, he brought them into the playoffs with really not a ton of depth either. So
he is like the best floor general still in the game. How many seasons has it been? And he's been still consistently bringing his team over the hump. It's incredible.
Yeah, so he deserves that money. Then you got Devin Booker, $29 million, of course. Devin Booker deserves that. But then you had Bridges, who's only making $4 million. Jay Crowder only making $9 million. DeAndre Ayton only making $9 million. Like, that to me is such a small cap space for a starting 5. Like, you think of some other ones. Like, I even think of like the Chris Bosh, D Wade, LeBron James. I don't remember what they were making, but I can tell you it's a lot more than
yeah, 19th
that starting 5 there.
19th in payroll in the league and second in the West. So that's pretty incredible. You look at Golden
Suns.
State.
Good job, Suns management. Great job at putting together what you put together. Excited to see what they're going to do.
Exactly right. Yeah, the Golden State, 170 million in cap. That's how much they've got. And Phoenix, 128 million. So Golden State barely into the play-in tournament right now. And you got the Suns second in the West. Amazing job.
And only cap space is 109 mil, so they're really only 10 mil over, which is actually impressive.
There you go. What a great job.
Yeah, next thing we got here, we had Luka talking about what's coming up this year, which is new for the NBA. If you don't know, it's the play-in tournament. This does affect the playoffs, and he's saying, I don't understand the idea of a play-in tournament. You play 72 games to get into the playoffs, and maybe you lose 2 in a row, and you're out of the playoffs. So I don't see the point of that. Obviously, this is an interesting take. For those of you who can't see the image, basically what's happening this year is normal playoffs, as you would see, the 1 through 8. But prior to that, there's this play-in tournament where 9th and 10th place play each other one game, right? I believe it's one game.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose, you're out of the playoffs. You're gone. The winner then moves on to a bracket. So you got the 9th or 10th. So say the 9th wins. He jumps into the bracket. 10th goes out. Then the 9th is going to play against the 7th and 8th. So the 7th and 8th team play each other. If, let's say, the 8th team loses, they jump down into the bracket to play 9, and 7 then goes to the 7th seed. So it kind of sounds confusing, but really all you need to know is if you're the 7th or 8th seed and you lose a game, you still have a chance to play one more game to go to the 8th seed. If you're the 9th or 10th seed and you lose, you're out. If you win, you then have a chance to play the 7th or 8th seed to get the 8th seed. Sounds really confusing. I'm not sure what I think about it. Someone had said potentially really you shouldn't have the 7th and 8th playing each other. It really should be 10th versus 7th and 9th versus 8th. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think of it, Phil?
Yeah, well, Luca's comments are interesting. Definitely, he's got a point. But you could also argue you play all year and you lose 4 games in the first round, and it's the same thing. It's basically you're losing out anyways. I think it's the NBA trying to drum up some more interest. It's them trying to get a little bit more into the casual fan. I think the playing game was awesome last year when we were in the bubble. If you're ninth and 10th, you got to win 2 games. If you're 7th or 8th, you got to win 1 game. I mean, that's all it really boils down to. 7th, 8th, win 1 game each. You're both in. 9 and 10, you got to win 2 games in a row. Then you're in. So I think it'll be great. I think it'll really bring in some extra eyes for the casual fans and hopefully kind of drive that interest a little bit more. I'd love to see the Raptors in 10th place get into the playoffs, being a homer. So, hey, any chance they can get in the playoffs, I'm an excited camper.
All right, yeah, and I'm kind of like I said, I want to see how it plays out. Now, my concern with it going forward, if they do keep it, is I was reading on Reddit and I agree with it. There should be a certain percentage of wins that you're at to do a play in. Like if 10th place is like 8 games behind or 10 games
Yeah,
behind,
that's true.
and is sliding into a 10 because the East is generally it's very stacked this year, actually 1 through 8. But as you know, as the East kind of fades off as you start to jump into the lower seedings. But that would be my concern was just like to make sure that because then you're taking an extra game where someone could get injured and you're playing a team who's really has no chance. You're probably going to win the game, but like let's say one of your best players get injured. Is that worth it if they were like 8 or 10 games behind? That's the concern. I'm interested to see what it is. Well, like I said, if it brings more hype, I do like the one and done game. That's kind of cool. It makes a lot of pressure. Yeah, obviously March Madness has done well with that. You got to show up and play. Yeah, I'm kind of 50-50. I want to see how this year plays out, and then I'll make my opinion on it.
Yeah, perfectly fair. If it was today, it'd be Pacers Raptors in 9-10.
Yep.
And Heat Hornets in 7-8. And then for the West, we'd be Warriors Spurs 9-10 and Mavericks and the Grizzlies. I think this is why Luke is making these comments because hey, the Mavericks got to play in to get into the playoffs. They gotta win. The West is loaded this year, just like every year. So I understand his frustration, but I think as a fan, I'm excited to watch these games, man. That'll be great.
Awesome. All right. Next thing we got. Unfortunate news for our Canadian basketball lovers and Nuggets. Yeah, Nuggets fans. Jamal Murray ACL injury done for the year. Obviously a heartbreaking loss. Nikola looking to get MVP, pretty much guaranteed at this point. I would say, I think it's undisputed. We'll see. Obviously, Nuggets were on an 8-game winning streak, and then that's when Jamal went down. Yeah, gut wrenching for the Nuggets fans because that's I don't even know who they have at the depth at point guard now. I don't know who his fill-in is, but that just tells you right now it's probably not a very strong candidate.
I mean, it's gut wrenching for the Nuggets. They make this move. They get Aaron Gordon at the trade deadline. They're trying to position themselves in order to kind of get into the playoffs and make some noise. Definitely hurts. Definitely hurts for those. I would say Nikola Jokic's chance of getting the MVP. I'm not as gung ho as you as getting the MVP just yet, especially if they continue to slide. There's only one real precedence of someone less than the 4th seed winning MVP, and that was Russell Westbrook when he averaged a triple double. So it's going to be tough for that to kind of happen again, in my opinion. And we've got Facundo Campazzo probably going to be taking over that starting position.
I was just looking.
He's the Argentinian Thunder.
I was just looking at their depth chart. They're supposed to be Monte Morris, who's supposed to start for them, and he's day to day. So he is injured currently.
So Facundo.
Very low depth chart at the point guard rate for the Nuggets right now. And then another kind of not great news, but I think it's worth mentioning because the man's name holds a lot to it. Is LaMarcus Aldridge retired? Obviously, just joined Brooklyn. Things are looking good. I believe he was starting too. I think the last couple of games, wasn't he? I think he
was starting before
he was starting to play well. And then if you haven't heard, he started having some heart injury or irregular heartbeat. And it got to a point where he even said in a quote like that was one of the scariest nights of his life. 37, decided just right then and there, I'm out, I'm done. Potential Hall of Famer, it could be argued. Phil, what's your thoughts on this bad news?
7-time All-Star, not winning a championship. that obviously hurts. That was one of his motivations with going to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I think him versus Joel Embiid would have been a really cool matchup if we would have gotten to like the Eastern Conference Finals with Brooklyn and Philly playing one another. So as a fan, I'm sad to see him go. As a human being, I completely understand it. There is life after basketball. As you said, he's 37 years old. He has a whole lot of life left in front of him. I think he's making the smart decision. Of course, I can't imagine the pain he must be feeling himself for the love of basketball and the craft that he's put in that time and everything else. So imagine that's got to hurt a lot for him. But I think the Brooklyn Nets will do okay still. I think they'll be fine. I mean, they've got 3 MVPs still on that team, not to overshadow LaMarcus retiring, but
Yeah.
I think the Brooklyn Nets will be okay in the long run here.
Yeah. No, I think so too. They'll do well and take care of yourself, LaMarcus. I know they said they had mentioned it, a couple Trailblazers fans in Reddit had mentioned he had some irregular heartbeats when he first started playing, but it was nothing severe. Right. And this was kind of one of the most severe times. And at 37, you've made your money, you've done your thing for basketball, you have a family. There's just a lot more to life, and it's like, is it worth it for a championship? Obviously, we love basketball, and like that's the ideal goal, but your life is much more valuable than a championship. We were talking, I kind of looked it up, and there was the Celtics player, Reggie Lewis, who played for the Celtics, and he actually died during practice. You
don't want that ever to happen.
No, it's something to do with his heart. I'm not sure if it was a regular heartbeat or something, but you just like at that point, was it worth it? And you know, I rest in peace to this man who obviously wanted to play his game. But it's in my opinion, good job to retire. Take care of yourself. It would have been cool to see
the millions he's made.
Right? Yeah, enjoy the millions he's made. It would have been kind of cool if Brooklyn was somehow able to like put him as a day to day. You know what I mean? Keep him on the team.
Right. Rather
but I don't think it would have been allowed, and he might not have felt that championship was earned if he didn't play anything. So, either or. Best of luck, like I said. Stay healthy, LaMarcus. Take care of yourself, and great job at bringing what you brought to the game. A filthy, silky smooth mid-range game.
Oh, one of the best big man at that. I think rivaled Dirk. I was listening to a podcast from one of my favorite podcasts as well, from the fellows who formerly are the starters. So these guys were chatting about how they were asking questions at All-Star, and they asked each individual player what they thought they could beat Michael Jordan at. And LaMarcus Aldridge said that he could beat Michael Jordan at mid-range jumpers.
I believe it.
Thoughts? You don't think it?
No, I believe it. No? I'm with you.
Oh, you believe it? Yeah.
LaMarcus and DeMar, both playing on the Spurs at those mid-ranges. They were just about 10 years too late putting that team together.
Yeah, those guys at No Dunks have some good fun. And hey, if Marcus is that confident with his mid-ranger, I kind of believe it, though, to be honest. That guy is clutch in mid-range.
Nah, we'll give it to LaMarcus.
Over MJ.
Okay. He's smooth. All right, let's jump into our socials this week. We got some cool stuff going on here. And we got ding social hoops. We got some really cool stuff this week. We had one thing. Phil, are you ready for your announcing? Are you ready to bring the heat?
I am ready.
Okay.
Bring the heat.
3, 2, 1. The clip is beginning.
And we've got a little kid doing insane dunks off the kitchen window. Windmill dunk, arm behind his head. Under his legs, chair, Aaron Gordon-like. 360 spin off the wall, slammer jammer, and then we're back with a little 360 windy.
It's just on loop. This kid is, for those that didn't see it, there's this kid, I don't know how old, maybe, what are we saying here, like 8?
Oh yeah, he's got to be like, maybe 7, 8 years old, and he's just absolutely jamming on the kitchen cabinets. Lockdown has gotten to him, and he has learned how to dunk the basketball.
If you watch this or listen to this as an audio podcast, I encourage you at the 24-minute mark to come to YouTube and watch the video of this kid dunking. It's absolutely insane. Like, this kid's got crazy vertical for his age, and the dunks he's pulling off is just insane. Like, talking about dunks, Miles Bridges, did you see that?
Dunk of the year? Question mark.
Let's listen to the pain of Clint Capella screaming. Oh, Miles
cock back,
Bridges
though.
just pulls one back on Clint Capella. Crowd is going nuts. He absolutely destroyed Clint Capella. Like, yeah, it could be dunk of the year. It's definitely in there. That was nasty. Nasty. Next
Yeah.
little bit, we're gonna focus on Luka for a couple because he had a pretty awesome week. You probably heard about his pretty big game shot, but did you see that he's a soccer pro?
Before the game, I mean, this
So we got Luka kicking the ball.
Just the footwork, but then
A little bit of footwork.
watch this.
Turns it around from baseline near the locker room. Near the locker room baseline, about I'd say from baseline, about 8 feet back.
8
Shoots
feet
it
behind the court.
behind the rim, 8 feet back from baseline, pops it up, swish.
Kid is talented.
He was feeling good that game, and hence why he probably did something like this. Dallas down by 2. 1.8 seconds left.
Here's Luka.
Luka floater from the, not floater from the mid range, not a floater under the hoop, a floater from the 3-point line.
To win the game. Oh my goodness. Just one question for you here, Luke.
Yeah.
How could you pass up on this man for the top pick in our under 25 draft? He must have heard our podcast, got extremely motivated, and just had the week of a lifetime here.
It's true. He's all I was doing was giving him a fire. I was giving him the torch he needed to step it up. I don't regret anything. I've basically made Luka the player he is today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was an intense shot, and while Phil was mentioning that, actually, we're going to jump into our new segment today, the NBA 2K21. We're going to have a little audio here.
Count it! He's on fire! I'm downtown!
Ooh. So, if you don't know what that is, that's from the original basketball game. What is that? Old Nintendo, I think.
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam. I don't know what
Classic.
system that was on. Is that?
I think that was on the N64. Was that not?
May have been. I
think
can't
we're showing
remember
our
off the top of
age
my head. Yeah, exactly. So either way, we got some pretty cool sounds there from that. And what this is all about is every once in a while we're gonna have, like last week we talked about the top 25 under 25, and then Phil and I then drafted our teams and we simulated the game. Actually, I got a little about 30-second clip just explaining what this week is about for you guys.
We're gonna do a simulation of the top 20 players under 25 game. As some people might recall, we did a draft, a pick'em in our last one, with Luke picking a team, myself picking a team. Luke really hyped up Zion Williamson with the first overall pick. I ridiculed him. He's confident. He thinks he's going to win. I took Luke at number 2. We're going to do a simulation.
So that's exactly what it is. We did that simulation, and if you're looking forward to see that game, we're going to drop it on Wednesday this week, and then we'll talk about it next week, about the review. But today, Phil, what are the rosters? Let the people know.
Oh, I just got to say that's a very attractive man and that lovely red blazer. My God,
it was you came fire blazing with that suit. Let me tell you.
So we got dressed up in these beautiful blazers. We got all ready. We were in the game, ready to announce with these awesome rosters that we built. I think the game is in really good hands with the top 25 under 25. We built 2 10-man rosters for each of us. We drafted 7 in last week's show, so we added a couple people just to round out the rosters. For Team Luke, we have Jamal Murray at point, Devin Booker at shooting guard, Brandon Ingram at small forward, Michael Porter Jr. at the 4, a little undersized, but hey, a little more shooting and spreading the floor, Zion Williamson at 5. And then rounding out, we got DeAndre Ayton, Trae Young, Jared Allen, Ja Morant. So that's Team Jansen. Pretty good team, I might say. That's some shooting. There's some fire. And then for my team here, a little bit more defensive side. We got LaMelo Ball at point, Luka at the shooting guard. Oh, Luka Doncic. Jason Tatum at the 3. Ben Simmons playing out of position at the 4. Bam Adebayo at the 5. De'Aaron Fox, SGA, Sabonis, Jaylen Brown, and John Collins coming off the bench. This game was a lot of fun to simulate, and we'll have a lot more fun for you guys to check out on Wednesday's show. Luke, who you got? What do you think of the outcome? What do you think is going to happen? You got any coaching strategies you're going to implement for these fellas here?
Yeah, I think give the ball to Zion, and
Mm-hmm.
just let Zion do his thing, and then occasionally, if we get an offensive rebound, just kick it to my deadly shooters on the wing. But past that, 90% ISO ball to Zion. Let him do his thing, and then from there, he's got his kickouts for his shooters. That's the game plan. That's it. Get the ball to Zion.
Get the ball to Zion. See, you got to get the ball to Zion to make it work. That's why give the ball to Luka as soon as the ball is inbounded is my strategy. And then you got length and defense surrounding him to hopefully stop those shooters, get out and spread the floor as well. That's my strategy. That's my strategy. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you think Team Jansen's going to win or Team Wiseman's going to win.
Team Johnson.
That's right. No. Team Wiseman.
Nah, if you like losing. All right. So we're just gonna jump on to the next thing here. We got Phil. A hot take. There goes the flame. It's gonna have to be a Shaq 5 because I definitely did not create a 1 through 4. So even if it's not that hot, it's gonna have to be Shaq hot anyways. So what?
I'm sorry.
Kansas, I'm sorry. All right, what you got for me this week, Phil?
Yeah, so we're kind of already touched upon it a little bit here, but LaMarcus Aldridge, unfortunately retiring, not winning a championship at this stage of his career. We've also talked about the red-hot Phoenix Suns, who've won 4 in a row, just a couple games back of the Utah Jazz here on April 17th. My question for you, Luke, or my take is, Chris Paul is the best player to never win a championship.
The best player to never win a championship. Okay, we're gonna have to put
NBA
Shaq's
history.
face up there.
In NBA history, Chris Paul is the best player to never win a championship.
That's a 5. You see Shaq? Shaq's like, that's
Ooh.
hot. Ooh, that's hot. The best player, man. That puts him in like the
never win a championship. I can give you some of the names here.
Well, I mean, the first one I'm thinking that I'm just like in a comparison factor of the position. Shooting guard, I guess, is Allen Iverson.
Yep, I've got Allen Iverson on this list. Yeah.
Steve Nash, double-time MVP.
Yeah, also on my list here.
Lord General. Who else you got on your list? I could think.
I've got Karl Malone, John Stockton, Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, Tracy McGrady, and Chris Webber as well. But I think Chris Paul has a better career than all of them, and I'm hoping that this year he'll be able to get that championship to kind of separate himself from these names. But at this time, I think Chris Paul is the best player to never win a championship. And here's why. So this season, averaging about 16 points a game, 4.5 boards, 8.8 assists, shooting almost 49% from the field, 36 from 3, 93 from the line. As we've just talked about at the start of the show, this team is second in the West. The Suns were barely going to make the playoffs last year when they made the play-in tournament, when they did the bubble. Yep. And then they tied at the end of the year. He grabbed an Oklahoma City Thunder team last year that were most expected to be like, Chris Paul's going to die here. He's going to end his career here. He's not going to do anything. This is going to be it. Brings them to the playoffs. He's an 11-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA. He's won an MVP. He's won his Rookie of the Year. He's 11th all-time in win shares, which is a statistic based off of the overall player performance for team success. This is why I think he is the best player to never win a champion in NBA history. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great take. My only thing to say, he should have a chip.
That's the
argument.
That's
the only argument I can make is that Clippers team was arguably one of the most, like, you look at Brooklyn now and they're I'm not making that comparison in that sense because Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, who they had Chris Paul, who was shooting guard there. That was
JJ Redick you're talking about?
JJ Redick. They had Jamal Crawford still in his prime at the time when they were playing all together. That team was so stacked. I think they had Jeff Green or Gerald Green was on there too. Like that team was. They had a Green. There's a lot of Greens in the NBA, but I think they had a Green. They had that epic collapse against Houston. You're right, where famously James Harden is on the bench and we've got Josh Smith hitting threes to win that game, and that's when Houston went to play Golden State in the Western Finals, and then of course Golden State goes to win championships. Yeah, but I think he's the best player to never win a championship. He's first all time amongst point guards in box plus minus, first in win shares per 48 minutes. All these geeky stats basically say that he is the best, one of the best players ever, and he just never won a championship. I think you're right. He probably should have won one,
But when you're putting it up against careers like Steve Nash, that's a tough one. He has multiple MVPs. There's no doubt about that. Allen Iverson, iconic. But I think, honestly, Chris Paul, the longevity of his career, everything that he's kind of done so far, his recent accolades of like bringing this Suns team to where they are, bringing the OKC Thunder team to where they were last year. That's why I think he's the best player to never win a title.
You know, I just, the only thing is, the only counterpoint is I just don't think he should be on that list.
You think he should win a title? Yeah.
He should have already had one. And that would that's my only like rebuttal, because Chris Paul is awesome. I mean, think of Allen Iverson as well. I just think, like, if you give Steve Nash that Clippers team, I don't think Steve Nash is on that list.
Well, those Suns teams, Luke, you can make the same argument for Steve Nash. He probably should have won a championship too, right? Those Suns teams were unbelievable in the 2000s. Kobe said no. And that's the same thing that happens. I think that's one of the great things of the NBA. But one of the unfortunate things with how we grade players' careers is it's all about championships. What Chris Paul has done for franchises like Oklahoma, like what he's done for the Suns here, that doesn't have a trophy, but that has such an important idea in basketball to me. Like just bringing these teams that are borderline to like top of their game, just with how he is. Of course, people get sick of him after a while. There's no doubt about that. I think Doc Rivers, who's the coach of the Clippers for a while, was not a big fan of him at all, but he gets his team to the playoffs. That's what he does.
Yeah, I would say the argument comes down to Chris Paul and Steve Nash would be where I would argue that. But yeah, no, it's a good take. Good take, Phil. I like that, man. Yeah, Chris Paul. I'm a huge fan of Chris Paul. Excited to see what they do this year. Hope he gets a chip, because I mean, he definitely deserves one at this point. Yeah. So next and final, the We the North.
Give me some Raptor news.
Give me some Raptor news.
Thank you, Kenny.
New segment. We like the Raptors. If you don't like them, you're gonna learn to like them on this podcast. That's for sure. We're gonna start off with this crazy dunk that, again, you have to come to the YouTube and watch this, and it's going to be roughly around the 37-minute mark. This is a 25-foot dunk on skates.
25-foot dunk. Say that again, look. That's impressive. 25-foot dunk.
Skates. All right, you ready for it? Here we go. Wow. He is airborne, full extension, cock back. Bam.
That's a thrunk.
That's a Blake Griffin slam dunk there. Throws it right in. That was nasty. Oh my goodness. That's like, yeah, that's Canadian. We the North. we do things. He different. He built different.
My goodness. So quarantine, you can see, has got people being real creative. Like, that is an incredible dunk. Just to set up the skate ramp and everything else. I want to know how many takes it took them to hit that. Hopefully it was the first one.
I think that might have taken a couple. I don't think that
probably.
happened on the first
Probably.
one. I don't think so. In other news too, we had Lowry and DeMar. They met up this week. They were hugging, laughing.
Best buds, best friends.
Kind of cool to see that, and they've kept that camaraderie between themselves. And even though, you know, DeMar obviously getting traded away, sad to see him go, but he kept his friends. He was hanging out with Pascal and shaking hands, but awkwardly, Rudy Gay sitting in the corner. Nobody going to Rudy Gay to say, "Hey, what up?" I kind of just thought that was a little bit awkward. I was like, well, you know, he was a Raptor. You know,
They all played on the same team together.
As was Lowry, DeMar, and Gay were all together, and like they didn't even literally. Kyle didn't even walk up to him. Nobody, like, it was. I'm sure maybe that's just what I saw in the clip. I'm sure they said hi, but it was just kind of like Rudy was just standing there, like awkwardly, just like, okay. Hey, fellas.
Poor Rudy.
Phil, what else do we have in the We the North news for this week?
Yeah, so we've got some big news. Raptors are now in the 10th position, kind of as we were teasing, or as we like to say in this podcast, breadcrumbs. We left a little bit of breadcrumbs for you there. So they're now in the 10th position after the win against the Magic, 2 in a row. So 2 in a row for the Raptors, getting into that 10th position. Not being done by Mr. Lowry. He's been sitting out for a couple games here. But we're having some of the bench mob taking on that more predominant role. We had Yuta Watanabe, if I'm saying that correctly, getting 21 points against the Magic. Paul Watson, a career high 30 points. And to top it all off, the NBA fined the Raptors organization for sitting their starters $25,000, and they still came out with the win. Raptors fans, I know you're happy like I am with this. Ken Birch has started the last 2 games as well. Maybe a little bit of a revenge factor against the Magic here. So that was nice to see. We also have a really neat story with a bench player kind of taking on his role, getting likely a second 10-day contract, according to Blake Murphy from The Athletic. For those of you that don't know the story of Freddie Gillespie, don't cancel me. You can read a great article on The Athletic from his story from Division III basketball all the way to now getting this 10-day contract, hurting and tearing his ACL in high school, not getting any AAU exposure, going to play Division III basketball in an intercollegiate athletic conference in Minnesota, transferring to Baylor.
Wow.
Baylor, of course, who just played in the finals and won, transferred to Baylor, known for the program for player development. One of the main reasons Freddie was drawn to the Raptors is because of their player development program. Hopefully he's a guy that sticks around. Second 10-day contract, maybe they continue to bring him in. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, I was just telling you 3 weeks ago, I was watching Last Chance U, which is the basketball one, not the football one on Netflix. And it was like how this coach kind of takes Div 3 and then tries to get them Div 1 scholarships, any type of scholarship, just an athletic scholarship that's going to pay for their schooling. So yeah, always cool to see a player do something like that, especially coming off an injury like that. That's heartbreaking. You're high ranked, you get an injury, you gotta go Div 3. You work your way back. Man put in his work. Like, you don't get scholarships to Baylor for nothing. You gotta learn how to play basketball. So, and then for the Raptors, of course, I think we're starting to make, which this is what I'm very excited for the Raptors, is we're starting to make a name brand of like, hey, if you don't feel like you're someone, come to us and we'll make you someone. And I think that's really good for the future of the Raptors, because we've had a really tough time of getting big free agents to come to us. So we've now made this amazing program that's like, okay, we're just going to build them our own. And then you have players like this who are going to start being like, hey, the Raptors are doing that. I want to go play with them because they're going to make me into a stud. This is really good news. Obviously wishing Freddie the best of luck. Play your heart out, man. We need some wins right now. We're in that 10th seed. We can't go any lower than that, because then we definitely out of the playoffs, and we don't want that.
No, we'd love a good draft pick, but I mean, the Raptors are good at player developing. Keep on bringing these guys in. Success stories like Freddie VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. We got friggin' Norm Powell as well. The Raptors are doing great at player development.
Hit a game winner for Portland this week. I don't know if you saw that.
That's right.
Yeah.
My goodness. The Raptors are killing it. We love this segment. If you have anything that you want us to talk about in particular when it comes to Raptors or the show, let us know in the comments section, and we will make sure to address it.
Yeah, so I would say that's it for episode 4, right? You got nothing
That's
else.
it. That's all.
Oh, we almost forgot. From deep.
One more question.
Look
at us.
All
we
right.
were both on point there. We're both like, one more question.
Don't you leave us yet. Okay, so let's make this interesting. Let's pull this up. From deep. Last question. Phil, what we're gonna do here is you're gonna pick a number through 1 and 5, and that's gonna determine who gets the last question. Just because we're kind of running, I'd like to keep us around that 45-minute mark, and we're getting close to that. So, actually, you know what? Let's make it interesting. 1 through 3. Then there's a good chance that you either get it or I get it. So if you pick the right number, you get it. If you don't, I'll ask my question. You like
Number one.
I didn't have a chance to even think about what the number was yet. You caught me off guard, so we're just gonna say you got it. I was either gonna go with 1 or 2, so we're gonna say I went with 1. Phil, this is your question. Last question for the pod, episode 4. It better be good, or you're gonna find yourself without a job on this podcast.
Then I'm done. All right. Without further ado, the last question here. With Jamal Murray going down, are the Denver Nuggets still a dark horse contender for the NBA championship? And if not, who do you have as your NBA dark horse?
With Jamal Murray going down.
Do you think the Nuggets still have a chance to win the title, or do you think there's still someone else that's potentially not a favorite to kind of swoop in, take over that dark horse, and potentially win?
Well, I mean, we know the Raptors are going to win it all, but for
That's
sake
a spicy
of
one.
Freddie, We need you. They don't have any depth at the point guard, and the West is stacked with point guards, stacked with good team. Like, you need that floor general, and Jokic, you could honestly say, is a point legend. Obviously averaging the most ever assists, triple doubles as a center, primarily with his assist game. But without your point guard, a good
It's
point
tough.
guard, it's really tough in the playoffs because everything runs through them. I don't think they have what it takes, and they were kind of my team that I was leaning on. Wouldn't even say they were a dark horse. I don't really, honestly. My dark horse, as we were talking a couple weeks back, episode 2, I believe, is Portland. Now that's more because of my love for the players more so than statistical advantages. So yeah, that's my dark horse, because Melo's going to average 40 points per game in the playoffs. Like, I mean, of course, like this, but of course he is. Like, it's too easy for him. But yeah, no, I'd say Portland is. Everyone's healthy. Enes Kanter grabbing a career high boards for him this week. 30 rebounds. They got some depth. Yeah, Portland's my team, man. Dame Town, I'm all for it.
Portland, the dark horse favorite. Okay, sticking out with your hot take from weeks ago. I like it.
Yeah, I got to stick to it to the bitter end till we have a first round exit.
That's right.
All right, my friend. Well, that was fun. Thanks for joining me. I'll keep you on the show. That was a good question. So you don't have to worry about your jobs.
I'm honored.
You mean you're on the ice? You're on thin ice. But come back strong next week, and we'll make sure to keep you on here. Okay.
Okay. Do I got to do a 25-foot skating dunk to kind of stick around? Is that what you're saying? Or?
I don't want to see you in the hospital. You are a good
I was gonna say I think that's gonna end badly if I try to do that.
I like you without broken bones. So let's not do that.
Me too.
Okay? All right, my
Perfect.
friends. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you for episode 5 next week. Peace.
Thanks for joining.